So in this video I'm going to review the Denon AVR-S760H, which just replaced the 750H model. That model was only capable of 4K resolution. This model is capable of outputting up to 8K or 4K 120 frames per second. It also has all the goodies like auto low latency mode, which is cool for video, if you're into playing video games. And it's a great little package. It has Dolby Atmos support, DTSX, even has Audyssey. The base level of Audyssey doesn't have as much room correction. It basically just takes measurements, the distance, and it sets the levels automatically for your speakers. I already ran it in my room and it worked quite well. I tested it out and I was very pleased with the results. So as far as the looks, I mean, it's a good looking receiver. Okay, there's not much you can do for a receiver as far as looks. I mean, it's a black box with knobs and buttons. It's what matters is what's inside. In this case, for the price point, it has a lot of features. It has 6 HDMI inputs. Even has support for has a phono input if you're into vinyl. I'd say five years ago, it was rare to find a budget receiver with a phono input. So if you're into vinyl, you're good to go with this one as well. This receiver packs 7 channels of amplification, and it's rated at 75 watts per channel at 8 ohms for 2 channels driven. And like I said, I installed it in my home theater and I ran it. My home theater is equipped with 7 speakers, so it's good for 7.2.4. But with this receiver, I have it set to 5.2.2. In other words, 5 main channels, the 2 fronts, the center, and 2 surrounds, and 2 subwoofers and 2 height speakers. You have the option of using back surrounds in this receiver as well, which I am not doing. So I watched a little bit of the Snyder Cut last night, and it did a really good job. The overhead effects were effective. Everything was very clear. Okay, so this is the remote that came with the receiver, and believe it or not, this is the remote that came with my $3,000 like Pioneer Elite receiver, which is a flagship model. It's pretty safe to say that this is a better remote, and you're getting it with a sub $500 receiver. So kudos to Denon for shipping a better remote. This one's fine, it does the job, but I think this is a little more pleasing, to hold, a little more substantial. I like it. It's not backlit, but it's fine. Not even this, this again, not backlit, no, but yeah, I definitely prefer this Denon remote. Okay, so just to go over like the front panel a bit, this is the with this knob you can change the input selector. This is the volume knob, of course. These buttons allow you to change, let's say it's already set to stereo for Blu-ray. If you hit movie, you can set it to Dolby Surround, DTS Neural X, etc., and that works for music, game, and pure sound. Is this pure button. I believe there's a button on the remote as well. It allows you to kind of bypass any of the processing within the receiver itself to give you the cleanest and purest signal possible. It's a lot of purists, like when you're listening to vinyl or something, you can hit the pure button and you'll just get the cleanest and most unprocessed version of the sound. So I'm going to go back to there. You can select a couple of, you have 4 quick select inputs there as well, and of course the power button, and there's 1 USB port there. So that's pretty standard stuff. There's no HDMI input or anything like that in the front, but there's plenty in the back. Like I said, there's 6 plus an 8K, 3 of which are 8K capable. So just one thing I wanted to note here. After I turned on my Xbox One down here, it automatically, I guess, the receiver talked to the Xbox and saw that it was an Xbox One and displayed Xbox One without me having to manually input or change the name of the input. Right now I have my Panasonic receiver, I have my Panasonic Blu-ray player on, so I'm going to just switch. As you can see, I'd never turned it on with this receiver before, and I switched it to the Blu-ray input, and it automatically sensed that it was a Panasonic. I can't see the full name, maybe if I hit display. I just want to show you that it did sense the Panasonic Blu-ray player name automatically. So I'm just going to go to Xbox real quick and then come right back, and then it says Panasonic BD. And here's the business end of the receiver. What do we got here? We got, wow, there's a phono preamp. This actually, you can connect a turntable. You know, this is like a budget receiver and you still got a phono. That goes to show the popularity of the format right now. So, I guess the things to point out, you got three assignable 8K. These are three HDMI inputs that accept 8K signals. I guess these three accept up to 4K or lower. And there's just one out, which is fine by me. So you got your front speakers, center, surround, and surround back, which is either you can. This is probably, I'm gonna assume these are either surround backs or the height channel. Yeah, it's assignable. So they can be heights. I can see it down there. They can be heights or surround back. Okay, so unfortunately my TV does not support 4K 120, but I was able to test other things. I can confirm that auto low latency mode works, and also variable refresh rate, VRR, also works just fine passing through the receiver. So I can also say that I have it it's working through with the highest color depth, and I'm gonna try to set it to PC RGB, which is even higher. And everything works fine. I'm gonna make sure that all these are still on. So yeah, works good. So I have the Snyder Cut playing here, and as you can see, I have, I currently, as you can see, the active speakers, the current setup is a 5.2.2 setup. I have the 5 main channels, 2 subs, and 2 Atmos speakers. And if you go in here, you can see that I got Dolby Atmos activated. It's coming in at 4K 24, HDR10, and I got 444 pull down and BT 2020, and its pixel depth is 10 bits. So everything is working perfectly. Here I just want to show you that I can get Dolby Atmos with True HD with no problems through this receiver. It's passing through with no problems. So when I set out to review this receiver, I thought, hey, let me see if I can put it in my home theater room that has a Pioneer Elite receiver that's MSRP is $3,000, has 11 channels of amplification, and see if it can give me an enjoyable experience. And I did just that. I watched a couple of movies using this receiver, obviously only using 7 out of the 11 channels that my room supports. Obviously I still had all I had my PB3000s, my Definitive Technologies hooked up, which I'm using all 4 subs. Obviously, as far as bass, there was no issues whatsoever. So overall, I have to say that the experience has been very enjoyable. I was able to push this receiver up to way more volume than I would normally listen to movies, so there's no problem there. Maybe when I pushed it a little bit, it did feel a little fatiguing, like it was reaching its limit, but I rarely listen to movies at that volume anyway. I would say this receiver would probably be good for a room that's slightly bigger than this one. This room has a cubic volume of about 2,300 cubic feet. After that, you're probably going to want to look at a slightly more powerful one. But again, very adequately filled my room with way more volume than I needed. As far as me, did I miss my Pioneer Elite? Did I miss my back surrounds? Did I miss my front heights, which I didn't have connected? I only had my like sort of like mid Atmos speakers. Yeah, I did miss them. I think I probably missed my back surrounds more than I missed these, because these, you know, kind of get lost a little more in the mix. I do hear them once in a while, and sometimes when you do hear them, they shine. Whoever claims that you need, you know, 11 speakers to have a really good Atmos experience is incorrect. I kind of went back to basics here and did a basic Atmos setup in here, and I had a fantastic experience. And if anybody that is connecting a home theater for the first time and has a more modest budget of like under $500 for a receiver, I don't think you're going to be disappointed, given that you set it up correctly and you do maybe some minor tweaking here and there. If you feel like I said, the center I felt was a little quiet, so I boosted it a little bit, and then it was okay. Everything was clear. All the dialogue was a lot clearer after that. So yeah, anybody who says you need like 11 speakers to have a really good Atmos experience is incorrect. You can definitely have a decent, in fact, I would say decent to excellent experience from just 7 speakers. I guess the key is here, you can have that, but the key is having like decent quality setup for your main 5 channels. So I have obviously my Definitives technology bit towers. I have a really good center channel and some bipolar surrounds. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is get the 5 main speakers right. That is the backbone of your surround system. Get the 5 speakers right. If you have that right, then your Atmos, just adding a couple of in-ceiling speakers is going to it's going to give you a really good experience. As far as temperature is concerned, it really did. I watched about a 2-hour movie on it, and the movie was slightly louder than my normal listening volume, mostly for testing purposes. And I did notice, you know, it gets a little warm. You're going to want to put it in a cabinet with a little bit of ventilation. It was definitely not hot to the touch. No concerns there. And but yeah, you know, that goes for any kind of receiver. You're going to definitely want some ventilation. If you don't have a cabinet with a lot of ventilation, you can always consider getting one of these fans that goes on automatically when it gets to a certain temperature. Those are available on Amazon. I'll put a link to one of those. So I just plugged in the receiver. I'm going to go through the whole like setup process. So I'm going to select English. It's just telling you it's going to walk you through the process. Just telling you to verify you have all these items. The remote control with batteries in it, the Audyssey microphone, including a stand. I'm actually using a tripod of my own, and speakers and speaker cables, etc. So it's going to help you walk you through connecting your speakers, telling you to place your speakers in the proper location, make sure you're connecting properly. I mean, if you've never connected a stereo, this is probably very helpful. Yeah, this is going through each speaker. Asked me if I have a center. I said yes. I do have surround speakers. So it's telling you to connect them. So I actually do have surround backs, but I'm going to use the height channel. So I'm going to select no. I'm going to select no. I'm going to say I do have yes. I'm going to say I have top middle. Yes, that's what I have right now. That would be the closest to what my configuration is. If I'm only using like one set of Atmos, the Atmos speakers I have are right above my head, basically, so I would say it's middle, even though it's the back of the room. With my Pioneer receiver with 11 channels, I have front height speakers and top middle. I set them to top middle because it's right above my head. So it's just telling me to connect those. I do have a subwoofer. I have 2 subwoofers. I have both of them connected. So so this is just telling me it's going to play some test tones to make sure everything's connected properly. I already connected everything, but let's see what it says. And it's telling me to make sure the subwoofer's plugged in. I can hear music, I guess, from the left front speaker, so I'm going to hit yes. I can hear from the center as well. I can hear from the right surround, left surround, right middle, And I can hear from the left one as well. And I hear my subwoofers as well. So now it's going to want to run the Audyssey MultEQ, and it says it takes about 15 minutes. So now it's going to tell me to connect the microphone, which I'm going to go ahead and do. Alright, here's the receiver, and there's a little plug for the microphone, and I'm going to plug it into the setup mic little headphone jack thing right there. And there it is. And there's my setup mic on a tripod. Basically my main listening position, or seat. Alright, so I'm going to start the MultEQ process. So it's telling you to connect the microphone, which I just did. So I'm going to set the microphone at I guess it's up to 6 different positions, but I'm going to probably do only 3. Okay, so it's telling me to place the microphone at ear level in your main listening position, which it is at, and make sure it's at least 20 inches from the back of wall of the room, which I'm about 2 or 3 feet. Alright, so let's see what happens. It's telling me to be quiet, so let me be quiet. So I'm going to begin the test. Well, it looks like it detected all my speakers, which is good. I'm gonna hit next. Alright, so I'm going to move the microphone to the second position. Alright, I'll continue with the test. Okay, so now it's asking me to move it to a third position, which I'll go ahead and do now. Alright, I'm going to move it to I moved it to the third position here. Okay, so I got 3 positions. I'm gonna leave it at that. I think that's enough. You can continue up to 6, but I'm gonna just stay at 3 because that's all I really need. Since I did all my 3 positions, I'm just gonna hit complete. I'm happy with 3 positions. I am going to turn on, now it looks like it's applying room connections. I'm gonna turn on dynamic EQ. It finished applying room connections, so I'm gonna turn on dynamic EQ. So now I can disconnect the microphone. So let me do that. Okay, so now it wants me to set up the network setup, which is simple. So hit next. Looks like it's detecting my network connection. Okay, it looks like it's streaming something from the internet. And then I'm gonna say I can hear it because I can hear it. I'm just gonna call it the Denon AVR. You can call it whatever you want. There's a home theater, living room, master, kitchen even, if you want. I'm gonna call it the Denon AVR. Yes, I do want to do auto update. And I am in Eastern Standard Time. So this is gonna help you connect your TV. I do not have this connected to a TV right now. So this is probably to set up ARC or to use a digital optical cable. I am just using my projector, so in my theater room. So I'm just gonna hit, so here you can select digital optical or coaxial or analog, and I'm just gonna go ahead and hit back and skip because I'm not doing that. Okay, so it's gonna help you configure your source devices. I'll hit next, sure. I'm gonna use, I believe, media player, HDMI. It's gonna do a connection test. It's a little longer, it's taking a little longer than I thought it would. Yeah, I'm just not gonna do this because it's probably not even necessary. So skip. I'm gonna skip that. I'm gonna hit I agree. Okay, so it's telling you how to download the HEOS app if you want to use, and then you need to download it if you want to listen to online music through the AVR. So you can download the HEOS app and the control app, the Denon control app as well. And that's it. So the Denon AVR-S760H is an easy recommend if your budget is under $500. There really isn't much out there right now as far as in that price point and even available. And I did see a rather large stack of these things at my local Costco, so they're out there. That is a viable option for a lot of people that are trying to build up their own your own home theater, and it's not a bad option at that. I think this receiver is going to is enough for about 95% of anybody out there. The 960 is probably if you have a slightly bigger room, or you're really want to push the volume levels to an extreme, or you have very inefficient speakers that need a lot of power, it would probably, that extra 20 watts may be useful. But then you're getting, the price point for, I'll probably put the price point for that receiver down below. I don't know it off the top of my head, but there is a thing about diminishing returns. You're getting so much in this package that it probably satisfy, like I said, 90+% of anybody out there. So again, easy recommend for this receiver. It's got a ton of features given the price. So I recorded another about 15 minutes of footage where I go over the main menu of the receiver in great detail. My video was approaching about 40 minutes, so I really needed to cut it out. I'm going to post a separate video if you're interested in seeing that. I pretty much go over the entire main settings menu. I'll post a link in the description, and at the end of the video you'll see a little square thing. Well, if this is your first time watching my channel, welcome. It's good to have you. I hope you found this review informative, and if you have any questions about the receiver or anything for that matter in my room, I'm happy to answer them in the comments. It would really help the channel if you liked and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.